What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button. It's important for us. Hit that like button for sure. Make sure you leave a comment. You know, tonight you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, Blood on the Razor Wire family. Working on getting them 25,000 subscribers so we can go ahead and give out that money. You know, we'll give out 2,500, 500 to some single mothers, single fathers. We got some people in mind. We got some people that we're considering. So make sure, you know, you share this thing, share the channel, and let's do it together, man. We're a family. It's not my channel, it's our channel. And if you haven't already, grab the book, Blood on the Razor Wire. You can get it from us at freedomfighterspc@gmail.com, or you can grab it from them other people at Amazon. But if you get it from Amazon, we get like pennies on a dollar for it. And when we get you to buy it from us directly, like I said, man, we use the money to do good things, so it's up to you. So you can tell from the thumbnail what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to read chapters 19, 20, and 21 of the book, and we're going to discuss it. We're going to talk about it. As you can see from the title of the thumbnail, we're going to talk a little bit about the A.R.M gang and federal prison, and we're going to get into some things in the book. All right? Chapter 19. After lockdown, the violence never ceases to exist. The thirst to unleash anger on others pulsates throughout the prison. Staff have allowed a former police chief from Louisiana to walk the compound. That's the talk on the line, at least. It is alleged that he found himself on the other side of the law for violating the civil rights of the people he arrested. Part of the intake process is an interview with the prison's captain. The captain decides if a prisoner is safe to walk the compound. Safe? No one is safe to walk the line on this compound. Not me, not other prisoners, not staff. This guy is literally a lone zebra among lions. Two men from the Aryan resistance militia, A.R.M, volunteer to make the hit on the ex-cop. One of the men is Donnie. Ironically, Donnie is from Massachusetts. He's not in our car because he is an A.R.M gang member. He is nearly 17 years in on a 25-year sentence. He admits anger, a roughness that cannot be faked. Like Red, Donnie also has a heroin habit that he fuels with proceeds from his moonshining business. He looks like an old Viking, short, stocky, and a long grain goatee. Although a little older looking, Donnie is tough as nails. He could have been a commanding officer in any of the several branches of our military. Instead, he is a loyal soldier to a prison gang. When the beating was over, the ex-cop was still alive. Barely. He had to be mercy flighted to a hospital after this litigious whipping, where he was kicked in the head numerous times with a hard plastic tip boot. Within 30 days, Donnie is out of the shoe, pats on the back for a job well done. The saga at Big Sandy swirls like an out-of-control tornado. Gazing out the window, my eyes look past the razor wire to the hills, where trees dance slowly in the warm wind. Daydreaming of home, my family, my mother, the people I care for. Tease. No one can know how I really feel unless they've been in this prison. Trapped in a dangerous place, wishing I could take back some of the decisions I made. I wonder how many other men look out their window, craving a second chance at life. Silently telling God that if he would only grant their request, they would never reoffend. Big Sandy has a way of making even hardened men appreciate life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The old saying, crime doesn't pay, rings true. My most treasured fantasy is being on the other side, climbing the trees that sway in the wind. Running through the tinted blue-green grass to a hidden place is a fantasy imprinted on my subconscious, amplified by repetition. A knock at my cell door jolts me from my run in the grass. From the grass back to my cell. I lift my head and nod. Lefty walks in. "What are you looking at out there?" Lefty asks. He walks to the window to take a look himself. "The trees, man, the trees," I sigh. "Man, with your time, fuck the trees. It's just gonna fuck you up looking out there. You have to accept this as your life for now, Chad." "I know, but I like looking out there." Do what you want, but my advice is, fuck the trees, fuck the grass, fuck the world," Lefty says. He laughs. "You didn't come in here and tell me about the trees, right? What's up?" "Oh shit, no, there are some new guys that just come in. One is from Boston. I'm sure he's going to be in your car, so you might want to come meet him." I follow Lefty, and we approach the new guy. Lefty begins the introduction. "This is Chad, the guy I told you about from New York." The new guy extends his hand to shake mine. "Frank, I'm from the Cape." "How much time you got?" I ask. 12 years for heroin and a gun." Frank is jittery. I can tell he is nervous. Like myself, he rode that long, lonely bus from Atlanta. He listened to the same big standy stories I heard. Come on, man. We'll go to my cell to talk away from these dudes, I say. As soon as we are out of earshot of the other prisoners, Frank begins to pelt me with questions. The fear in his eyes is immediate. The anguish in his voice is noticeable. Look, man, I say to him, you're going to be all right. I know you're nervous. Man, why would they send me to a place like this? I'm only 24 years old with 12 years, kid. Frank's eyes start to water as he tells me this. Because the people in charge are scumbags. They don't care about shit. People are getting killed here, Frank says. It's not as bad as the stories you heard, I lie to Frank, hoping to calm him down. My intentions are simply to help ease Frank's fears until he can adjust to his new circumstances. If he can make it through the first few days, he will be okay. I know the same feelings he is experiencing. Dude, I don't want to die in here. The people running this place don't give a fuck about no one, kid. Frank says this with urgency in his voice. Look, you're too nervous. Are you hot? It's freezing cold in here. I ain't hot. Nah, man. Hot. Like, did you snitch on someone in your case? They call that hot in here. Fuck no. I'm a petty-ass drug dealer that they sent to this slaughterhouse. Okay, I'm going to give you some advice that I should not give you. If you're hot, you need to get the fuck out of here, because they will hurt you. If not, you're good here. I say this to Frank with firmness in my voice so he gets the point. Chad, look at me. I'm not hot, or whatever you call it, but I am scared. Here's a little secret for you. I was too, a few months ago when I first got here. And I'm still here, and I ain't been killed. You're going to make it. Just try to calm down. For some reason, I'm determined to help Frank make it. I don't want him to take that long walk out of fear. That could ruin his career. He is nervous, fearful, scared. People sometimes take the walk to protective custody for no real reason other than their misplaced fear. People don't understand that making that choice only makes their stay in prison harder. The call for chow echoes throughout the unit. When I reach Frank's cell, he's laying in his bunk staring at the ceiling. He tells me that he does not want to go to chow. He has to be hungry after the trip. My urging him to join me does little. He protests, telling me that he's tired and not hungry. His fear of being here, of meeting more felons, prevents him from eating. Steve sees me as I enter the chow hall and waves me toward him. Hey, you got a new guy from Boston over there, he asks. I can tell he is wondering why the new guy is not with me. Yeah, his name is Frank. He's from the Cape. Oh yeah, where is he? Steve asks with a smile. He didn't come to chow. Said he wasn't hungry. Wanted to shower and relax. I can tell Steve is pissed off, although he pretends that he isn't. He thinks everyone should worship him. Those who don't should be brutalized. At least that is what I think Steve thinks. I dislike Steve more and more with every passing day. Steve tells me to tell Frank to make sure he's at breakfast to meet all the homeboys. I agree. I wonder if Frank will still be there when I get back to deliver the message from the puppeteer. If you are from New York or Massachusetts, there really is no choice when it comes to the car. You're either riding or you're getting a plane ticket out of here, purchased with force. The car won't necessarily stab you, but Steve will send 3 or 4 guys to kick the daylights out of you. Like most things behind these walls, it's better to take the best of the bad options. Joining the car willingly is much easier. To Steve, refusing the car is rejecting your homeboys, your brothers. This is a major disrespect. If you have no loyalty to the people from your state, your brothers, then you do not belong here, according to Steve, Adam, and Dennis. The job of telling Frank this reality has fallen into my lap. This assignment might not be necessary if Frank disappears before I get back. It's hard for me to faith in being loyal to a group of people that you do not know. I'm sure Frank will feel the same. In a place like this, though, you have to align yourself with someone. No one wants to be alone in this dog-eat-dog world. Being alone in here is not the wisest choice. Since I've been here, no one has declined Steve's smiling offer to join the homeboys' pack of loyalty. The only problem is, one day you are a brother. The next day, you could easily become a victim. Frank is still there when I peer through his cell window, still laying on his bunk and still staring at the ceiling. I knock, causing Frank to look up at me. I walk in. I don't wait for him to wave me in. What's up, I say. Nothing, just relaxing, Frank replies. Look, man, the homeboys were mad because you didn't show up to chow. They want to meet you. Man, I just want to relax. I don't want to meet these people. I laugh at this statement, knowing this is not an option. I explain to Frank what a car is, how things work in here. When I tell him about Steve, he tells me he thinks Steve is an asshole and a control freak. Again, I look out for Frank, telling him to keep those thoughts to himself, because if Steve gets wind of talk like that, he will send people to hurt him. Frank's eyes light up again. See, this is the shit I was talking about, Chad. These dudes want to kill people for some bullshit. Well, it could happen, but you have to think before you say or do things around here. Protect yourself by making the right choices in here, Frank. This Steve guy? Man, who does he think he is? Whitey Bulger from Southie or some shit? Can I just do my own time? Stay to myself? You want the truth, I reply. Yeah, actually I do, Chad. Well, the truth is, you can't do your own thing. Trust me. You don't want to be alone in here, even if they let you, which they won't. They would have 4 or 5 guys kick the shit out of you. After that, you'll be in the hole for 4 or 5 months. Then you'll be on another plane going to another USP, where there will be more Boston and New York guys waiting to tell you that you have no choice. Either you get in the car or they kick the shit out of you. So, in the end, you can save yourself a whole lot of misery and ass whippings. So I got no choice is what you're telling me. Listen, Frank, this place is like living under a communist government. Steve is at the top of the pecking order. You cannot talk bad about Steve, Adam, Dennis, Ronnie, or the car. Your best bet is to go along with the get along. Stay out of the way. Follow the rules. And pray to God your points go down so you can go to a medium security prison. Frank is getting the message. He nods his head, agreeing with my words. Do you think I'm going to make it here, Chad? As long as you didn't tell anyone, you will. I got 12 years. I ain't supposed to be in a USP. I have no idea why they sent me here. My response is simple. There are a lot of dirty people out there, Frank. No one cares about where they send you. If you live or die, no one gives a shit. Why? Because they go home every night to their family. If a bed is open in Big Sandy when your number comes up, that's where you're going, kid. This system sucks, and we are swept up in it. It's near to lock-in time. I shake hands with Frank and prompt him to try and get some sleep. I tell him to make sure he is up for breakfast in the morning, fulfilling my obligation to Steve. Tonight will not be an easy night for Frank, but I think he will make it. As I lay in my bunk, I find that my night, too, is difficult. Mental exhaustion has set in from dealing with Frank. Usually when the lock is in place for the evening, the stress subsides. You can relax to a certain extent. And here with Mr. Young as my cellmate, I know I am safe. One more day down on my 40-year sentence. Big Sandy has a way of draining its inhabitants, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Only God can hear my cries. My heart aches for just one more chance at life. Just one more chance at freedom. Every rising sun comes with the perplexity of wondering if I can make it through another day. With so little hope of ever being out there again, ever finding true happiness, I fiddle briefly with the thoughts of suicide. This is my never-ending nightmare. There is no escape. When the sun rises, my daily hurdles transcend limits that seem as though they are impossible to overcome. Chapter 20. The U.S. prison population was Chapter 20. The U.S. prison population was 1.5 million prisoners at year-end in 2017, and the population of jail inmates in the U.S. was 745,000 mid-2017. There were 1.3 million prisoners under state jurisdiction and 180,000 under federal jurisdiction. From the end of 2016 to the end of 2017, the number of prisoners under federal jurisdiction dropped by 6,100, down 3%, while the number of prisoners under state jurisdiction fell by 21,600, down 1%. By citizenship status, non-citizens made up roughly the same portion of the U.S. prison population, 7.61%. As of the total U.S. population, 7.0% per the U.S. Census Bureau. These numbers are important. These numbers are based on prisoners held in the custody of publicly or privately operated state or federal prisons. The imprisonment rate for sentenced black males was more than twice the rate for sentenced Hispanic males, and almost 6 times that for sentenced white males. 12,336 per 100,000 black males compared to 1,054 per 100,000 Hispanic males, and 347 per 100,000 white males. At the end of the fiscal year 2017, nearly half of all federal prisoners were serving a sentence for drug trafficking. While the numbers are falling, many federal prisons are still overcrowded. With overcrowding comes agitation. With agitation, violence. Most of the violence is relegated to U.S. penitentiaries, maximum security prisons like USP Big Sandy, which house mostly high-security offenders. USP Florence, located in Colorado, saw a massive riot between white and black prisoners on April 20th, 2008. Some white supremacist convicts were celebrating the birthday of Adolf Hitler with prison-made moonshine out on the recreation yard. At some point, the white outlaws began yelling racial epithets at black prisoners. The white supremacists armed themselves with rocks, prison shanks, and other improvised weapons. A battle between both races ensued. It involved over 200 prisoners and lasted more than 30 minutes. In an attempt to stop the riot, guards fired more than 200 M16 rounds, 300 pepper balls, 10 tear gas canisters, and sting grenades. When the dust settled, 2 prisoners, Philip Lee Hooker and Brian Scott Kubiak, lay dead from gunshot wounds. Over 30 prisoners and 1 staff member were also injured in the free-for-all. Maximum security federal prisons reeked with violence. Soon after the riot, Sarah Devley, the warden at Florence, received an Excellence in Prison Management Award. One of the biggest problems I see being part of this federal prison system is that there is no accountability. No one cares if prisoners are killed or assaulted. August 10, 2008, shortly after the riot, another prisoner took a life at the Florence prison. The violence at Florence also extended to the visiting room. A prisoner took a homemade weapon to the visiting room with him. He cut his wife's neck, then turned his anger toward his mother-in-law. Both left the prison visiting room with superficial wounds, while the warden enjoyed her award. 2008 seemed to be a rocking year for the Federal Bureau of Prisons. On June 28, 2008, prison guard Jose Rivera was stabbed at least 28 times with an 8-inch ice pick-like weapon. 2 prisoners already serving life sentences were charged with his murder. After a 3-month lockdown where prisoners were confined to their cells eating bologna sandwiches twice a day, they were finally let out of their cells. With all the pent-up anger, frustration, and hostility, it did not take long for more violence to erupt. Over a dozen prisoners were stabbed at the prison that was plagued by numerous fights. The prison was placed on lockdown again. In 2017, there were 57 prisoners on staff assaults at USP Atwater. These included physical attacks with fists, food trays, and spitting or throwing urine on guards. More than half of those assaults took place in the special housing unit. Not long after Rivera's murder, stab-proof vests were issued to staff. Prisoners like me must find ways to protect our vital organs on our own. USP Pollock in Louisiana is another prison rife with violence. In April 2007, Tyrone Johnson and Derek Sparks were both murdered, stabbed with prison shanks. Not only was Pollock the leader in prisoner-on-prisoner murders in 2007, but nothing good ever happens there. A few months after the Johnson and Sparks murders, 2 more prisoners were stabbed in the stomach. With Thanksgiving right around the corner in November 2007, 2 more prisoners left this cold world with toe tags on. William Bullock and Donald Till, murdered by other prisoners. Peter Avalos Gutierrez went to meet his maker in January 2008, at the age of 55 after being stabbed to death with a menacing shank. In Texas, Gabriel L. Roan was stabbed to death at USP Beaumont, also known as Bloody Beaumont. During the battle, a guard received 13 puncture wounds. There is a guard shortage problem in the Federal Bureau of Prisons. Wherever maximum security prisons are, there is also death. The great state of West Virginia is not exempt from prisoner-on-prisoner murders. In April 2018, 48-year-old Ian Thorne was killed during a physical altercation at USP Hazleton. Demario Porter, like Thorne, was killed the same way 5 months later. This has been going on for years. In February 2015, another prisoner met his fate at the prison when he was stabbed in the stomach. In 2016, prosecutors brought charges against a prisoner after he wrapped his hands around another prisoner's throat and strangled him to death. USP Hazleton is a place known for death and destruction. Saw its most famous murder when former Irish mob boss James Whitey Bulger was viciously beat to death by at least 2 younger prisoners at the age of 89. Bulger had only been at the prison for a matter of hours. He was transferred from another prison in Florida after misconduct with staff allegations. Whitey Bulger was a high publicity con known as a snitch. Despite all of this, Whitey was sent to a prison known for murder. The minute he was designated to USP Hazleton, his death warrant was signed. Because Federal Bureau of Prison staff lack accountability, staff allow prisoners to be led off to the gallows of another sort. Knives, shanks, steel pipes, fists and feet. All tools used to send victims to the afterlife. Every day is just another day in the federal prison system. USP Big Sandy, what have you for me? I want to move on to chapter 21. Chapter 21. Oh, stop! What the fuck are you doing? The screaming reverberates through the vents as I brush my teeth. The wailing is coming from below. It travels through the ductwork. I pause momentarily. I'm holding the toothbrush in my hand and staring into the mirror. I am intently focused, my attention to the screaming, anger, depression, Fear, anxiety, all run through my veins. My life is this. Sometimes I wonder if this is a life at all, or a life worth living. Hearing keys locking doors breaks my train of thought. I continue to brush my teeth. Once again, the officer is yelling the all-familiar lockdown. Sneakers squeak across the floor as prisoners scramble, gathering items owed and borrowed, magazines, food, and ice. Everyone seems to want ice when there is a lockdown. Lockdowns seem to be the norm now. Lockdowns are a sanctuary as long as they don't last weeks. Being locked in is a refuge from the day-to-day violence, only the real escape from the pain. This lockdown only lasted a few hours. Dinky and his misfits were at it again. They decided to hit another white prisoner from the south. He was in the unit below me. According to Dinky, the man had been writing to a prosecutor attempting to cooperate on an unsolved murder. Dinky unveiled this sin, claiming he was able to read the imprint on the cover of his victim's writing pad. Simply an excuse made up in his mind. The real reason for his strike was the man had a store. Plenty of postage stamps, food, pornography, and books. Dinky wanted all the fruits of his Mark's labor. Obtaining these fruits could be achieved through violence. Another sad day for someone on Magic Mountain. The smell of deep-fried food radiates through the unit, making my stomach growl. Someone is making fried food. Like Scooby looking for a Scooby snack, I want to find out who is cooking. Is it for sale? Determined to discover the source, I follow my nose. As luck would have it, two Serenos who I get along with are deep-frying the stuffed flour tortillas they call chimichangas. I order 4 with a cold soda. For a split second, I'm reminded of the days when I was a small boy enjoying fried food at a carnival. The chimichangas are filled with cheese, chicken, peppers, and onions, all items stolen from the kitchen. I pay for the food with a book of stamps, thanking them as I leave. Everyone has a hustle in here. Like Red, the Serenos made a stinger out of wires and stainless steel. They took a hard plastic garbage can, cut it down with dental floss, and turned it into a deep fryer. People deep fry raw chicken purchased from whoever can steal meat from the kitchen. Convicts who work as butchers have everything for sale. Beef, pork, hamburgers, chicken patties, and fish. Regular kitchen workers sell vegetables, fruits, raw rice, pasta, pre-made sandwiches, oatmeal, and desserts. The 3 things that people care about in here are food, drugs, and alcohol. The men that are hustling are doing so mostly for one of the 3. Those selling drugs in here at the higher level are doing so not only to live well behind these walls, but also to pay for lawyers. They call these acts penitentiary chances. Penitentiary chances are chances people take selling drugs inside that could result in new criminal charges or death. In here, when you're the man with the drugs and money, you become a target of those thirsty for what you have. You have what the vultures want. Overzealous guards, the few who aren't scared, also target the drug dealers. With the drugs comes mountains of problems. The problems are worth the risk when you're chasing freedom. 2 doors down from me, another guy sells what people refer to as spitterets or chew ports. Tobacco products are no longer sold in the commissary in federal prison. Many of the guards chew tobacco. They carry empty soda bottles that they spit in, along with the chew that has been in their mouths. When those bottles go into the trash, a few select prisoners with access to the garbage snag the bottles. Like an episode from a scientific show, they set up a lab in their cells. First, they pour the discarded saliva from the chew. Then they place plastic covers over a hot bowl of water where they put the spit and chew, allowing it to dry. Once it is dry, they have what they call black gold. A big pile of chew that they turn into small spitterets. Each one sells for a book of stamps. One discarded bottle can fetch anywhere from 6 to 30 books of stamps. The thought that anyone would smoke anything that came from someone else's mouth makes me want to vomit. Everything is for sale. Food, drugs, alcohol, legal advice, pornography, even sex. We're hanging out in Red's cell, Red, Frank, and me. The music plays loudly as we laugh and joke among ourselves. Frank has been here for over a month, slowly acclimating to his new living arrangements. Dennis, Adam, Steve, and some of the other fellas came over to meet Frank on his 2nd day. He never made it to breakfast that morning, so they showed up in the unit. After that morning, Frank never missed another breakfast. "Chad, do you think you're ever going to get out of here?" Frank asked me. "This rat hole?" I respond. "No, man, I mean out of prison in general." Frank says, a look of despair on his face. Rubbing my thumb on my chin, I stall for a moment before I answer, praying and hoping, because I can't take much more of this shit. Whenever I think about my case or the situation I'm in, my throat gets dry. I continue. "Listen, Frank, I got a phenomenal lawyer from New York handling my appeal. She's Jewish, and Jews are good lawyers. Chick lawyers are always smarter than men, plus women care about people more, you know? She works at a law clinic in New York too, so that's a good thing. Do you think they respect female lawyers, Frank asks. Jewish chicks named Jillian they do, I say with a laugh, trying to end the conversation about my case. You ever see what she looks like? Why, you trying to date my lawyer, jerk off? Come on, man, I'm just asking, kid. Nah, I ain't ever seen her, but she has that New York City accent like Rosie Perez from White Men Can't Jump. Red and Frank laugh. Red says, that movie sucks, but I hope that Jewish chick gets you out of here, Chad. That makes at least two of us, Red. Me too, Frank chimes in. I want you to get out of here. Red's country music blares through his homemade speaker. First thing I remember knowing was a lonesome whistle blowing. And a youngin's dream of growing up. Mama tried. I turned 21 in prison doing life without parole. No one could steer me right, but Mama tried. Mama tried. Mama tried to raise me better, but her pleading I denied. With the conversation we are having, I think Merle Haggard's Mama Tried is a hell of a tune to be playing. My mother tried too. It was my own decisions that resulted in me being 24 doing 40 years without parole. Silently, I pray my attorney can win my appeal. My sanity rests on hope in the success of that appeal. That's the deuces, bro, Red says. We all stand up and look out the window into the recreation yard. Nothing there. We peer deeper into the yard. The yard is calm. A lake on a warm summer night. Yelling and squeaking sneakers pulls our attention from the window to our unit. When Red opens the door, the noise engulfs us. I see a white prisoner running down the range with blood dripping from his nose. Instantly, I'm ready to pounce. Red senses my uncomfortableness. He grabs my shirt. That's the white dude, dog. He's with the blacks. I freeze as what Red says registers. He's with the blacks. The first thing I think is some black prisoners are attacking a white prisoner. If that were to happen, stalling could cost me or others our lives. In this place, you have to meet violence with violence. Dog is hemmed up by two armed gang members. He looks like he's being stabbed, but it does not stop him from returning fire with his fists. A heated battle ensues. Dog throws lefts and rights at a guy named Josh. I cheer inside for him, willing him to win. He moves to the left with the wall covering his back and throws an overhand right. With the agility of a professional fighter, he moves to the right, throws a jab, and follows it up with a hard right. A left uppercut next. Josh crashes to the floor, a heap of clothes. A knife tumbles from his hand, clanking, skittering across the concrete floor. Dog is ready to pounce on Josh. His knockout punch appears to have escalated his fury. Josh's partner disappears momentarily. He reappears with a broom. The first swing misses. Dog weaves away from the strike. The second swing comes fast and hits Dog in the head. As he stumbles back, he shakes his head trying to get his bearings back. Dog's too late. A third swing to the body. The fourth, a crushing blow to his head, sends Dog to his knees. His eyes lock onto mine, pleading for me to help him. I cannot help him. He made his choice a long time ago. Josh is back on his feet, knife in his hand. The shank strikes Dog in the neck. Blood spills like a broken faucet. His adrenaline enables him to make it to his feet. With one hand on his neck, he sprints towards the guard's office. His pursuers give chase. As is custom, the deuces have brought staff flooding into the unit. Dog is able to run through the unlocked door into the arms of those able to save him. Josh and his partner are ordered on the wall. After a quick pack frisk, they are handcuffed and led out of the unit to the special housing unit. Before the yelling begins, I make my way to my cell. Mr. Young is already there. Before long, I hear the hard steel lock clank behind me. This time, I don't feel the regular relief. A piece of me is burning hard. I feel as if a part of me is transforming, taking me to a place where I could hurt Josh and his friend with no remorse. Fire should be met with fire, anger with anger, violence with violence, ruthlessness with ruthlessness. Big Sandy can turn a good heart black. I look out the window of my cell door. I see blood everywhere. There is more than I would have thought. Other prisoners are ignoring the call for a lockdown. Instead, they're going to the showers and filling garbage bags with ice to keep any perishables cold for as long as they can. Others stop off at the storeman's cell. Our storeman is a black man from D.C. named Bo. Bo sells commissary items from his cell. Everything from cold soda to chips, cheese, cookies, and meats. The markup is about 35 cents on every dollar. As I stare out the window at the commotion, I think about Dog. I spoke to him on many occasions. He often talked about his son and his daughter, and how he was looking forward to getting out of here so he could spend time being a dad. Dog was a likable guy in his 30s, serving 7 years for weapons possession. Originally from New Jersey, he relocated to Tennessee. Now he might have lost his life here in Kentucky. While my heart is beginning to darken, there is still a part with kindness. My kindness allows me to hope that Dog makes it. That his life, his hope to be a father, does not end here. If Dog dies, I know this lockdown will not be short. Watching the attack on Dog made me want to intervene, but there was no way I could. Dog is Irish like me, from Jersey, but he made a mistake when his feet hit the soil here. He made a choice to ride with the blacks. Once he did that, he was dead to the white prisoners. He was now considered black. Whites don't get involved in black business, and blacks don't get involved in white business. Dog came to Big Sandy prior to Adam and Steve's arrival. Had he come here after those two showed up, he would have been in our car. In our car, the likelihood of two white gang members stabbing him would have been low. Had they done so, we would have came together and massacred both Josh and his partner. After watching Dog's incident with no blacks intervening, I am unsure if they knew he was part of their car. Most people assume that Dog rode with the blacks. Dog probably liked it that way. Two black prisoners in our unit usually sit at the same table with Dog in the mess hall. One of them is from Jersey, the other is from Brooklyn, New York. Neither man came to his aid. Like everyone else, they were simply spectators, not participants. I feel a disdain for both prisoners for not intervening, or at least making sure that Dog had a fair shake. Maybe they knew this was going to happen before it took place, and were ordered by the shot caller not to get involved. The prison is locked down. Again, looking out my cell window, I see two other prisoners dressed in white suits that resemble astronaut uniforms. These are the only two convicts out and about in the prison. They're here to clean up the blood. Both are designated to clean up blood and other bodily fluids. There's no shortage of work here at Big Sandy for the men in the moon suits. According to prison standards, this is one of the best jobs to have in a large part because it pays well. The assignment pays a little over $100 a month. I would never think twice about a job like that. Disease runs rampant among prisoners behind these dark walls. HIV and hepatitis are at the top of the list. That alone makes the blood duty undesirable to me. The $100 lures others in, though. We're on our 4th day of lockdown when Mr. Young appears to have a nervous breakdown. It started this morning. Shortly after guards shoved the paper bag breakfast into our cell, he was angry that the bags had 1 apple, 2 pieces of bread, and a pack of powdered milk. How's a man supposed to survive on that? He could not understand. When 2 raggedy bags come in for lunch with more of the same, Mr. Young punches the door. The sound of his fist hitting the hard metal pulls me from the James Patterson book I am reading. Mr. Young's left arm rests at the top of the door. Staring at the back of his head, I hear him weeping. Big Sandy has broken this old man. A Vietnam veteran who saw combat has been shattered by the violence, loneliness, and desperation that engulfs this small area of the bluegrass state. He stands at the door crying, rambling about his age, and how this whole system is wrong. Both of our brown bags are on the floor. I can do nothing but lend an ear. Listen to his sorrow. My heart hurts to see Mr. Young brought to tears. From Vietnam to federal prison. This is what his life has become. I am 63 years old, Chad. I should be watching my grandkids grow up, Mr. Young says between sniffles. With understanding in my voice, I respond, You're going to be all right, Mr. Young. Just hang in there, buddy. You'll be home before you know it. Chad, there just ain't no real men in this prison. Men make their own decisions. Life decisions. You understand me, Chad? He says through clenched teeth, tears running down his cheeks. I can't walk out of this cell if I want to call my family. I can't get myself anything to eat when I'm hungry. Do you understand that, young man? I nod in agreement, listening as he speaks. I understand, Mr. Young. This is a sad life, but we're going to be okay. I say this with some reservations. I want to make him feel better about our current circumstances. His words ring true in my ears. This is a very sad reality that I don't want to accept. We can't even get something to eat if we're hungry. Which we are with the brown bags 3 times a day. The guards are yelling that it's shower time, prompting Mr. Young to speak again. Oh, so nice. It's been 4 days and now they want to march us in cuffs to the shower? Showers might do him justice. Calm his nerves, I hope. I like Mr. Young. I feel bad for him. There is a respect that I have for him like what a grandson might have for his own grandfather. Mr. Young has been in prison for 7 years on a 15-year sentence for armed bank robbery. He swears up and down that he is not guilty. I believe him. Most people don't claim to be innocent. They complain about the draconian sentences they received. Federal mandatory minimums have destroyed many lives by sending nonviolent offenders to places like this, where they are forced to do what they have to do to survive behind this razor wire. Sometimes they are forced to become violent. Without violence, they too will be devoured. Shower time has finally arrived. The simple event brings much relief. Being able to walk out of the cell to stretch your legs brings with it a small amount of joy. Our unit manager, Miss Chase, is at our door with her secretary. Miss Hack to cuff us up for showers. I put my back to the door, squat down, and send my hands through the slot to be cuffed. As Miss Hack cuffs me, her soft hands brush my fingers. Her perfume is light, but I can still smell it through the door. A normal person could never fathom how good it feels just to have a woman grab my hands while cuffing my wrist. The saying there truly is nothing like a woman's touch resonates in that small moment. Her Kentucky accent is soothing. Her politeness is delightful in such a contaminated place. This is the first time I've come in direct contact with a woman in many years. Hands cuffed behind me. I grab my towel and soap off the desk. The door opens and Miss Hack escorts me to the shower. The hot water streams down my face, caressing my cheeks like a waterfall. Hot water, Mr. Young's breakdown, and the touch of a woman break me down. The smell of cold soap floods my locked concrete shower. My thoughts go to February 4th, 2003, the life I once had. Snow, pristine, glistening in the light of the moon. I stop at the corner and look to the left. As I turn my head to the right, he's there running towards my truck, gun pointing straight at me. A car is in front of me. I cut the wheel to the left, but I can go nowhere. Another man with a mask and a chrome pistol. He is almost at the driver's side. In my panic, I assume I'm being robbed. I take a moment to pray they do not kidnap me for ransom. I am trapped. They got me. And then I see the blue lights as more men jump out of police cars. The 9mm is pressed to my temple. I see the shiny piece of metal of a Rochester police badge in my peripheral vision. Orders are barked at me as I'm ripped from the driver's seat and thrown to the hard, cold pavement. Snowflakes float down from the dark sky. I know it's all over. Booper's long gone. We parted ways when he turned 15. I found out he started smoking cocaine base. That was the excuse I used. Like Biggie said, blow up like the World Trade Center. Everything was blowing up as I lay in the cold, wet snow. The cuffs tightened on my wrist. I wish I were being robbed or kidnapped for a ransom. Anything else would be better than this reality. My stomach quivers as if I'd just been hit with a left hook to the abdomen by Mike Tyson. I lay there sick and frightened. The cop tells me if I move, he'll shoot me in the head. I decide to stay motionless in the snow. As I rub the coast into the skin on my face, I begin my own silent weeping. This one thought brings back that whole experience once again. That same left hook to the stomach area hits me again, just as hard. The only thing that has changed is the date. Everything hurts all over again. The pain is still excruciating. Sometimes I think of her, not as much as before, but the fear, frustration, and faithfulness of Big Sandy makes her dance in my mind. At 24, I lost her. A beautiful wife, 2 little girls, Tiara and Joy, dancing to Michael Jackson's Thriller, watching Lilo and Stitch, The Lion King, Dora the Explorer, counting to 10 in Spanish. Vivid memories. Jen was her name. Dinner at our favorite restaurant, Pasta Villa. Good conversations, laughs, good times. Life as I knew it, forever gone. Your life as you know it may very well be over. I think that's what the judge said. It's all a blur now. The salty tears run down my face. I punch the shower wall hard, over and over. My eyes burn like hot coals as the emotions run over me. Nothing left but shattered memories and dreams. No one to blame for the losses but myself, my irrational, irresponsible decisions. Let's go, man. You have 2 minutes. Other people need the shower. A male's guard voice rings out. Defiantly, another prisoner yells, "Fuck you." Yeah, all right, the guard sneers back. This exchange brings me back to Big Sandy. I try to calm myself. I rinse my face carefully. I'm not going to let anyone see me in this state, this moment of weakness, not even Mr. Young. Surely not Miss Hack. Wow. Reading that brings back memories, right? And sometimes when I read, man, I'm back in that place, you know. When I'm reading that, I'm in that shower, man. I'm punching that wall and I'm thinking about all the things that I lost. And at that time, I could never, fathom what my life would later become 20 years later when I got out of prison. But you guys know, the story. We talk about the things that you lose, man. When you make bad choices, these are the things that happen. These are the things that you forever lose, the things that you will forever miss. We talked a little bit about the A.R.M dudes, man. Like, talked about Donnie. We talked about Donnie before. That was when he was about 17 years in on his 25-year sentence when he kicked that cop's head in over there and they mercy flighted the cop out. I thought the dude was dead. And then later on, Donnie goes on and kills someone and he ends up with a life sentence. We talked about that in other videos. It's not the life you want to live, man. You don't want to be in a shower thinking about your family, man, your kids, and punching the wall like, wow, man, this is it, man. This is the end of my life. This is what my life is, a concrete shower with a big metal gate on it, you know. Then I talk about Dog, and I talk about the A.R.M dudes. You know, they just were looking for a reason to do something to this kid, man. It was over 4 stamps. 4 25-cent stamps. That's what they were worth, $1. They made up an excuse to attack the dude and act like he stole the dollar. He didn't steal no damn dollar. But that's what they wanted to use as an excuse. And dudes do that in prison all the time. They find an excuse to do things to you for no reason, man. They make up a reason. Yeah, man, that dude stole something, so we massacred him. We stabbed him. Yeah, man, we read something on the top of that dude's pad when we talked about Dinky, and now you guys know why I feel like Dinky's such a scumbag. And so many people, there's people that have wrote me like, tell us more about Vernon Brooks. Well, I think that's his brother that's tuning in. You want to know more about Dinky? The truth is, man, he was a bad dude, man. He did bullshit to people for no reason, man. Maybe it was because of all the anger and depression or whatever his life was like growing up. I don't know. Maybe he had hurt and pain inside, and that's how he unleashed it. By unleashing violence on other people, by sending other people to do dirty shit to people, man. Those are the things that, you know, always struck me like, like how could people do shit like this to people, man? But they do it, man. They do it. That's what prison's like. It's a dog-eat-dog world. They will spit you up and they will chew you up and spit you out. You heard about Frank, man. Frank went on to become a shot caller in a couple tough-ass prisons, I think in USP Pollock. But when he first came in, he was just like me, just like everyone else that walks in there. Most people that at least have some common sense. You're walking into a danger zone, man. You're walking into a place where you're like, damn, man, look, I don't want to die, but goddamn, that shit hurts too when you get stabbed and jumped on, and you feel that panic, man, when you think about it. You're like, damn, man, why'd they send me here, man? You could be that dude right now. You could be the dude that's getting ready to get arrested, man, on a Fed case, and you're going to be in the county jail, and then you're going to go through transit. You're going to get sentenced. You're going to go through transit. And they're going to be like, hey, man, you're going to USP Victorville. You, USP Big Sandy. You're going to the low. You're going to a medium in Raybrook. And them guys that are going to the pen, they're like, damn, man. Their worst fear is coming true. Because they've all heard about the penitentiary. And I don't care, man. They did time in New York State. They did time in California. Man, this shit gets real over here, man. You know? Being in certain prisons in New York and in California and Chicago and Texas, and you're still walking into a danger zone, man. You're walking into a gladiator pit. And I felt like that sometimes. Like I would envision, you know, some of them old movies where people are walking into gladiator pits. You're walking into a gladiator pit, man. It was like walking through a gauntlet, man, when you're getting ready to go outside of the rec yard. You know, you would go through that metal detector and take that quick right, and then there's 2 fences going down and just one long sidewalk. And you're walking, and then you get to that other fence, and it opens. But you're like walking into death. You're walking into a death chamber out there, man. Not a life for anybody, man. The A.R.M gang members, probably going to do a video on A.R.M, man. Should we? I was with a bunch of them dudes, man, and honestly, man, them dudes, like, the one dude, AJ, and there's a kid named Chad, Raz. Those dudes, man, straight up, man, they got busy, man. You know, they lived what they believed, man. Like, they were dangerous dudes. They caught a case in USP Lee for like 10, 11 more years for kicking a Spanish dude, a border brother, I think it was. They kicked him in the head with their boots and all kinds of shit. And then they stopped letting you wear boots for certain things over there, man, at USP Lee because of that incident. But we'll do a video on them. I hope this video struck a chord, man, because it's not always about violence and anger, man. It's about the feelings, man, when you're in that shower or when a woman touches you. Like, this is a woman's touch that you haven't felt in all these years. And here it is, man. I hope you learned something, man. Hope it struck a chord. Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Until tomorrow, we're out.